right, thank you so much for joining in this beautiful entree into the miracle recap. That was just amazing to hear some real music with piano and the marimba. So that was truly a delight to hear that. So today, this is one of the final meetings, like we have a couple more to go, but then we come to the prayer lessons, and that starts up a new series of reviews, but in a different way. So we're looking at the last, say, 20 lessons, 180 to 200, but today we only do the first two, in fact. And I do this in a not very conventional way. And that's interesting because we literally have a guest who wants to introduce to us lesson 181. So I'm going to invite that guest in later. Now, as an contemplation meditation, I want to start first with the lesson of tomorrow, basically, and that is, I will be still an instant and go home. So I made a composition for that. I want to listen to it right now with you. So I'm really happy that you join me in this opportunity for, say, basically opening ourselves up to our salvation, to our light and love within each one of us. In that light, you see that you're not alone in this, that you're literally, that this is what oneness is. And so that is really lovely. Yeah, so let's start with that. I want to be still an instant and go home. So bring in some real beautiful quiet and peace in here. And relax deeply into what we're going to hear. So I'm thanking you so much for joining in this oasis of light that is within you and that is there to rejuvenate you. Imagine walking the desert in a blasting heat, and suddenly there's the oasis. Well, this is what lesson 182 is. I will be still an instant and go home. This world you seem to live in is not home to you, and somewhere in your mind you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Yet still you feel an alien here, from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you're an exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. No one but knows whereof we speak, yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will remain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who, in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, and yet none contain his restless mind. He does not understand, he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven, All he ever made was hell. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again, the childhood of your body and its place of shelter. Are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened? Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven, and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. It is this child in you your Father knows as his own son. It is this child who knows his Father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly. His voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself, within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. This child needs your protection. He is far from home. He is so little that he seems so easily shut out, his tiny voice so readily obscured, his call for help almost unheard amid the grating sounds and harsh and rasping noises of the world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection. You will fail him not. He will go home, and you along with him. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you, for he would bring you back with him, and he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong, and where he lives an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling you to let him go in peace along with you. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. So poignantly he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. Rest with him frequently today, for he was willing to become a little child, that you might learn of him how strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hand and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them, that they may see he would be friend to them. He asks that they protect him, for his home is far away and he will not return to it alone. Christ is reborn as but a little child each time a wanderer would leave his home, for he must learn that what he would protect is but this child, who comes defenseless and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go home today, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child, who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours. Today he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end at last. Be still an instant, and be at peace a while. So let's be still for a moment. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in a moment of quiet. It's like, obviously, there's something else going on. And this something else has nothing to do with who you thought you were. It's like that has been, yeah, that whole thing doesn't fly anymore. It really doesn't go anywhere anymore. It's like the ideas that you held about yourself, that you thought that you were, is not working anymore. So here we enter into a whole different meditative series of lessons, and basically the last 20. That's amazing. Like every one of these lessons will literally continuously invite you to go further, to go further, to go further, to enter deeply into light, to take 15 minutes or longer if you want. Just stay in this quiet and open your consciousness, stay alert, open your consciousness, but breathe the love of God in and see what happens. Where does that bring you? And which question isn't answered in that? So that's really the practice in the last 20 lessons. That's why it's a total delight to take a really good look at them. And so this time it is like, we're now at 181 and 182. 182 I used today just for the meditation, but then 181. And then I say it's a couple of weeks we continue with that. And these lessons will be brought back, like the 180 to the 200 lessons, because everything is present in it. You can come back to these lessons always, because they give you something that you cannot find in any other lesson in that sense. Like there's some real instruction given in how to do this, what to do, how to do this, how much time to take for that, and why, and letting that come to the fullest within your own experience. Now today's lesson, like I said, I invited a special guest for today. Not too special, but a guest, and which is Master Teacher. And there's one video that I've seen, like as a absolutely beautiful video that has helped me incredibly a lot, like so much. I've watched this one that we're going to watch, at least the first half hour. I've watched it so many times, but it's so beautifully described and so beautifully given that I love to share that with you. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I want to take a look at that lesson by listening to Master Teacher. Is basically what I'm saying. And this is from, there's a kind of an early series. I think it was maybe 2001 or something that this came up, 2002 maybe, but like the very early miracle lessons. that he really started to do the lessons of A Course in Miracles. All right, so I'm going to pull that up and join you in listening to Master Teacher teaching lesson 181. So it's really like a warm weather kind of episode in the Miracle Recap. It's like, yeah, we're taking it really easy today. It's wonderful because these lessons are meditative. They keep, you have to stay alert. That's what I said. You have to stay alert, absolutely. But also, it is a receiving. So that's the invitation for this.
We're glad you joined us here for another lesson in the idea that it's possible for you at this moment to change your mind about who you were, not in a continuing conceptual idea about yourself, but in a sudden realization that you are not who you thought you were. This is the mind training of A Course in Miracles, a systematic manner in which you can come to know who you really are. Not based on what the world tells you that you are, but on our shared certainty now that present with us at this time and in this place, and on our relationship to whatever you think this video is about, that our minds can have direct communication without regard to the conceptual ideas that we brought into this circumstance about ourselves. We've been very active in this presentation because we want you to become active in the meditative technique of the idea that you can carry about with you in this world, wherever you go in your objective occupation, the certainty that a realization of a continuing alternative is possible. So we are going to attempt, with your permission, to do the very advanced lessons of this Course in Miracles, the lessons from 181 through 200. It's an indication that you've been practicing for 180 days. And if that's true, and you're watching this video with me now, or perhaps you've seen no other videos whatsoever, but are simply going to regard this as the time and the place where you have decided to accelerate your process of conversion that is necessary for you to know the truth of who you are. I'm going to let you share with me the intros that occur in the workbook of this Course in Miracles in a description of what these next 20 lessons will be. Look. Our next few lessons make a special point of firming up your willingness to make your weak commitment strong. Your scattered goals blend into one intent. You are not asked for total dedication all the time as yet, but you are asked to practice now in order to attain the sense of peace such unified commitment will bestow, if only intermittently. It is experiencing this that makes it sure that you will give your total willingness to following the way the Course sets forth. Our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks that keep your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of our goal. We are attempting now to lift those blocks, however briefly. Words alone cannot convey the sense of liberation which their lifting brings, but the experience of freedom and of peace that comes as you give up your tight control of what you see speaks for itself. Your motivations will be so intensified that words become of little consequence. You will be sure of what you want and what is valueless. And so we start our journey beyond words by concentrating first on what impedes your progress. Still, experience of what exists beyond defensiveness remains beyond achievement while it is denied. It may be there, but you cannot accept its presence. So we now attempt to go past all defenses for a little while each day. No more than this is asked, because no more than this is needed. It will be enough to guarantee the rest will come. So we're going to begin, aren't we? The intro to that lesson is an indication of how important it has now become for you to recognize the necessity for the continuing reevaluation of your conceptual self. Can you see that with me? The idea that it would be possible for you to trust your brother as you do yourself would have to involve the certainty that the projections of your mind in regard to what you think this world is would be inclusive both in your acceptance of your loved ones and of your enemies. The basic idea of this Course in Miracles is to continually draw your attention to the certainty that your mind, your mindfulness, is what this world is. Can you see that with me? Shall we look together at it for just a moment? Okay, this miracle-mindedness that I'm offering you now is a continuing conversion of the necessity for you to be occupied, okay, with the conceptual idea of yourself that you brought into this continuum. The entire message of this mind training is to show you that while you have objected to your objective associations, the people that appear to be around you, the truth of the matter is that they represent exactly how you feel about yourself. Will you share that with me? Say to me, I guess I'm going to have to admit, okay, that I'm only meeting myself. Say that.
I'm only meeting myself.
I'm only meeting myself. Everywhere that I look, I see projections of my mind, invariant historic ideas about where I think I am in space-time. I'm in a dream that allows me to participate in temporal identities that allow me to acknowledge old associations with future references. In a simple fact of the matter, everyone I'm meeting is actively contained in my own mind. Can you see this with me? I need to be mindful, and I want you to be with me in this, mindful of ideas that I am offering you concerning the inclusion of your entirety of self-identity with a certainty that available to you is a Christ mind. This is the teachings of Jesus in the New Testament. He says, I am available to you on a continuing basis in a converting mechanism to show you a new dream, one in which you will recognize that your brother, the guy that's out there, is actually your loved one, since all is only love, and we share the certainty of a single source of reality. So the process that we're employing now is to show you and remind you to be mindful that all around you are the entirety of your dedication to convert who you thought you were in this conceptual idea of separation to an idea of truth and wholeness of love that we share for all of eternity. We're going to go back just for a moment to remind you of what your actual condition is. It's lesson 158. We're going to review it very quickly for you because it gives you an indication of what has been given you within your own mindfulness and the time and place where the entirety of that availability will occur. Watch with me. Let's listen together. What has been given you? The knowledge that you are a mind, in mind, and purely mind, sinless forever, wholly unafraid, because you were created out of love. Nor have you left your source, remaining as you were created. This was given you as knowledge which you cannot lose. It was given as well to every living thing, for by that knowledge only does it live. You've received all of this. Are you listening? No one who walks the world but has received it. It is not this knowledge which you give, for that is what creation gave. All this cannot be learned. What then are you to learn to give today? Our lesson yesterday evoked a theme found early in the text. Experience cannot be shared directly in the way that vision can. The revelation that the Father and the Son are one will come in time to every mind, yet is that time determined by the mind itself, not taught. Listen, the time is set already. It appears to be quite arbitrary, yet there is no step along the road that anyone takes by chance. It has already been taken by him, although he has not yet embarked on it. Could you hear that? For time but seems to go in one direction. We but undertake a journey that is over, yet it seems to have a future still unknown to us. Listen, time is a trick, a sleight of hand, a vast illusion in which figures come and go as if by magic. Yet there is a plan behind appearances that does not change. The script is written. When experience will come to end your doubting has been set, for we but see the journey from the point at which it ended, looking back on it, imagining we make it once again, reviewing mentally what has gone by. A teacher does not give experience because he did not learn it. It revealed itself to him at its appointed time. But vision is our gift now, isn't it? This we can give directly, for Christ's knowledge is not lost, because he had a vision he can give to anyone who asks. The Father's will and his are joined in knowledge, yet there is a vision which the Holy Spirit sees, because the mind of Christ beholds it too. It matters not when revelation comes, for that is not of time. Yet time has still one gift to give, in which true knowledge is reflected in a way so accurate its image shares its unseen holiness. Its likeness shines with its immortal love. We practice seeing with the eyes of Christ today. And by the holy gifts we give, Christ's vision looks upon ourselves as well. So it should be clear to us now by that idea of a new vision that's being offered that it becomes imperative that you trust your brother who is one with you. The idea that you would be able to do that by looking out at your rejected projections and attempting to forgive them for this time and place is going to be extremely difficult for you. The solution that I'd like to offer you in my mind, as indicated by the sharing that we now are experiencing in a complete alternative, not in this continuum, is that as you see your brother, as projected from your own mind in defiance and defense of who you think you are, His forgiveness is impossible. We, as Course in Miracles International, were invited to attend the Millennium Peace Conference of the United Nations, and it gave us a great deal of joy as representing the necessity for the entirety of forgiveness and love and brotherhood that this world searches for. We went there with the credentials of miracle teachers, without political indications or need for doctrines or defenses of ourselves, but simply as indications that we were willing to give all that we knew to be our love for each other, in the certainty that the world could come to know that it had a single source of reality. It was interesting, and we'll digress just for a moment because it's a part of the problem of this world. The conference that was being held, and it's on the auspices of the United Nations with some very lovely, dedicated religious and spiritual leaders of all religious bands or ideas. They were all there. One of the problems that they immediately addressed was the impossibility of forgiveness without justice. Now there arose immediately our certainty that forgiveness was necessary for us to see the justice that is inevitable in the peace and love of God, and that the search for justice in this place of pain and death, in order to forgive it, could never be justified, because the nature of the correspondence of the conceptual mind in space-time is one of attack and defense. The joy that we experience in our attempts, successfully in many cases, to show the love that we wanted to indicate was possible, not in the political system, but in the individual, was our purpose for attempting to bring that about. That's a little digression, but you listen to me. If you intend to go out into this world, and apparently you do, or why are you watching this video? If you intend to go out in this world and offer the new certainty of love and forgiveness that you are recognizing in the certainty of yourself, you will be faced with the dilemma of the conceptual mind's continuing examination of you within the perspective of its search for justice, its search for reciprocity, its search for exchange, its search to retain the idea that it could in fact get old and sick and die. So I am here now offering you, along with the many, many others who are having this experience of forgiveness, the certainty that the solution to the problems of this world are not in the aggregated historic references of establishment, but through the recognition of the teachings of my Savior, Jesus Christ, that I am responsible for my own thoughts, and that when I decide to change my mind about who I am, I will see the world change as that occurs. And that's the joy that we offer. Perhaps it's time now to read and begin to look at together the idea that if I will trust my brother, I can come to know who I am. Listen. Let's look together. Trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes and past his seeming sins as well as yours. Listen, perception has a focus. It is this that gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent which has replaced the one you held before. Remove your focus on your brother's sins, and you experience the peace that comes from faith in sinlessness. This faith receives its only sure support from what you see in others past their sins. For their mistakes, if focused on, are witnesses to sins where? In you. And you will not transcend their sight and see the sinlessness that lies beyond. Therefore, in practicing today, we first let all such little focuses give way to our great need to let our sinlessness become apparent. We instruct our minds that it is this we seek and only this for just a little while. Listen, we do not care about future goals, and what we saw in instant previous has no concern for us within this interval of time wherein we practice changing our intent. We seek for innocence and nothing else. We seek for it with no concern but when? Right here and right now. Could you begin to see the instructions that you were given in that lesson? Let's look together at it. Suppose you're out in the world and you've made a contact in the practicing of this Course in Miracles, and you depend on continually applying it to all the grief and anger and pain that you're feeling out there, and suddenly, not within your conceptions, you feel a little peace, a little relief, okay? We call that a holy instant. That's a direct communication with an alternative that's available to you in a variant continuum of the focusing of your conceptual mind. Should I try to explain that to you? The eyes with which you see within your concepts are light forms of electromagnetic energy that bring you visions, okay, of conceptual ideas contained within your mind. Since your mind is split in its conceptual idea about itself, it establishes through its splitness a focus that gives it apparent realities within the idea of the light form as projected from your mind. That's what this lesson is going to say. What it says is that everything that you see is just out of focus. Will you share this with me? This is the teachings of my Savior Jesus. He uses the term in Aramaic as kata. He says that sin is your conception of yourself, okay, that is just off the mark of the entirety of what you are. But remember that once you focus your associate ideas of split mind in projections of your mind, all you can possibly get is an idea of your old references about yourself, which in fact are over and gone, aren't they? Okay? Let's try it together, one of the lessons, shall we, from the Course. Let's say, above all else, I want to see differently. Say that.
Above all else, I want to see differently.
Good. I want to see differently. I want to have made to me a provision of a reassociation of my conceptual self that will make me, shall we try it together? Say one-eyed.
One-eyed.
One of the oldest traditions that there is, and certainly contained in all of Christianity, is the idea that if your eye can become single, the focus of the attention contained within your own mind will extend from you the harmony that you have discovered in your own certainty. Let's practice that for just a moment. Above all else, I want to see differently.
Above all else, I want to see
now,
differently.
There is another world that I can see. What am I going to do? I'm going to momentarily lay down the defenses of my conceptual self, which have been binding me to the projections that appear to be out in this world. This is the practice of the revision that I am offering you in my self-certainty. In my certainty that through my resurrected mind, the resurrection of my Savior Jesus Christ, as contained in the New Testament, has directed me to the responsibility of offering to you, through his Christhood, my Christhood, and my continuing dedication to show you, in fact, who you really are, based on a new vision I have discovered about myself, in the certainty of what? Say, we share a single self.
We share
Say
a
that to
single
me.
self.
Yes. There is one self, and that we share with God. Okay? There is one reality, and that is contained totally in your idea about yourself. So you're being offered a complete alternative, okay, that shortens your need to defend yourself from the projections of your own conceptual ego, the idea you have about yourself. We're going to have to leave you for just a moment in this mind training lesson that you must trust your brother. These segments of the course are divided into 30-minute time intervals to make them available on television. Perhaps that's where you're seeing us. We're going to come back in just a moment and continue these lessons based on your now discovered determination that you really want this alternative. And in the idea that that experience now is being enhanced by a new certainty of who you are that has come into your mind, because minds communicate. Say that to me. Minds communicate. See? Now you turn and look at the brother that's next to you. Say, my mind is communicating with him now, and I realize the love that we share. Remember that God goes with us wherever we go, because God is what? The mind with which we think. We'll be back in just a moment to share our certainty that God blesses us, everyone, and in each moment of time for all eternity. We'll see you in just a moment.
All right. So thank you so much for joining. It was really good to listen to it. I hope you enjoyed that too, in the sense that it opens up like your consciousness for a new experience. So the one thing that really touched me is this idea. It's like coming to the United Nations and discussing ideas of forgiveness. And the first thing that comes up is that forgiveness needs to be linked to justice. This is a very interesting point. We're going to take a look at that tomorrow too in the morning miracle. Like in the manual for teachers, it says about justice. Now the world's idea of justice within the definitions of the establishment, you could say, is not really what justice is, and you know this, but it touches me because it's like the point of forgiveness is literally only taking place in you, and has nothing to do with looking for justice first in order to forgive, but also it has nothing to do with something that happened outside. If it has anything to do with something that happens outside, you would be caught in the situation. This is absolutely beautiful to recognize that and to see that here's a way in which you speed up time immensely, because you're not looking for justice. You cannot find justice here, and we'll see that tomorrow too, but it's like you cannot find justice here. You can look for that forever, but it's not going to be here. Now here, recognizing that what I'm seeing are just reflections of my own ideas, so I only have to deal here with myself. And this is like now the lessons start to make so much sense, because we're still in the basic, very basic situation of we're dealing here with your brother. Yeah, with the one that you just ignored, or with the one that you just looked at and wasn't sure about. You know, that's what we're talking about after 180 days of exercise. trying to see things in a different way by releasing our ideas, by seeing that my way of seeing as I was used to see does not make any sense, because literally in my seeing I already have a focus. Basically I'm already judging, that's why I'm seeing it, and I'm justified in that. So my justice is in my perception as long as I hold on to it. But seeing that that causes so much pain and that it has nothing to do with my reality, I'm willing to give that idea up and literally allow it to be exchanged with what is real about me. Now this all comes back to the same thing. Like literally the practice of forgiveness is, oh yeah, it starts here. It's me. It has nothing to do with anything else. It was my perception. That's where it takes place. No matter how difficult it seems, no matter whatever seems to be appearing on my hologram of the conceptual self, as Master Teacher says, everything that I see out there reflected is just a memory that is over and gone. It is like I'm seeing only the past, so that's not going to help me in any kind of way, except in wasting time. I waste time trying to look for justice there. And this is a huge lesson. I mean, look at what's occurring in your mind. That's amazing. So I'm really happy that we have been taking a look at this. Now, the next step where we're entering into is the Healing Heart Circle. And the Healing Heart Circle is like seamlessly with this lesson that we just saw, because we're actually looking at human relationships in transition, you could say, human relationships in transformation, because that's basically the occurrence that you have in your life when you practice this. Like, what is occurring? Why is this repeating? Why is this happening? Well, we're going to take a look at that. But first of all, we're trusting our brothers who are one with me. So thank you everyone for now. Thank you so much for joining in the Miracle Recap, the special edition, you could say. And I hope to see you soon, probably in 2 weeks or so. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.